All right, hello, Melissa Dillon here, coming live for part two because I was interrupted by the babies. Babies is most important, so when she needs me, I go. And she breastfeeds, and so when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she's looking for her booby, and if it ain't there, she cries, so I gotta go give her the booby. But anyway, I am back here, and we were talking about, in part one, I was talking about the biggest reason that you block your own manifesting is because you don't trust in magic or miracles. Like, a big part of manifesting and saying, like when we talk about the law of attraction, when we talk about manifesting, we're basically saying that we trust and believe that the universe will give us what we want. We trust and believe that the universe will show up with whatever it is that we desire to have, that we can create something from nothing, that something can be created from nothing, that something will make itself manifest in our life. And that's essentially what we're saying when we say we believe in manifestation, that we want to be able to manifest things in our life. But we fail to trust that. We fail to say, like, I want magic and miracles, and then when it's like, okay, it's time for you to trust in magic and miracles, you're like, I can't trust in magic and miracles. I can't do it. You know, and I just envision so much like this, the universe is like, okay, it's time for your trust fall, and you're standing there and you're looking back and you're like, you expect me to just fall right now? You think I think you're gonna catch me? Like, it's very difficult for us to just trust and to let go. But that's exactly where the magic is. If you're saying that you believe the universe will give you everything it is that you want and desire, and then something happens in your life and you're like, how do I fix this? I've got to do something. You're not trusting in magic and miracles to give you everything that you desire. You're trusting in your own skills and abilities to be able to figure out, to think, or to create a logical path. I don't want a logical path to the amazingness that's in my life. I want a direct route to magic and miracles, like, as fast as I can. And so I don't try to actually figure out anything logically. I do my very best to, like, relax and let go, relax and let go, relax and let go. Now, this is where we kind of run into some problems, because there is a difference between relax and it's not relax, let go, and do nothing. It's relax and let go and take inspired action when it comes. So one of the things that I was saying is, like, so let's say you want to manifest something. Your first job is to begin with the end in mind. What would it be? What would your life be like with that manifestation having happened? So you picture it already having happened. You feel the feelings of it already having happened. And then your next job is to go about your everyday life, being in love with your life, and tapping into the feelings of already having that manifestation happen. But you don't try to think your way to how that thing will manifest. It is not your job to use your brain to discover and create logical steps. It is your job to trust and let go that the steps will appear, that the situation, the circumstances will all show up, so that this thing that you want to manifest out of thin air will manifest out of thin air. It cannot manifest out of thin air if you are trying to determine the steps, the logical steps it'll take. This has to be illogical. All day long, I think about how delusional I am. I'm so freaking delusional. And I have built a multi-million-dollar business in less than 3 years. Like, yeah, I'm delusional. I do that kind of stuff, okay? So when you want to manifest something, you feel the feelings of having it, you envision having it, you begin with the end in mind, and then you go about your daily life, loving your life. You got to be grateful for what you have, accepting for what you have. You can't look at the gap between where you're at and what it is you want to manifest. You lovingly see the gap as like a super fun way of you getting there. You know, like, you can't, like, well, I don't have it now, so life sucks, and it's not showing up as fast as I want, so life sucks. That's not the vibe. You've got to be in love with your life now. Like Melanie Ann Lay always talks about it, is 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire. 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire. On one hand, I am thinking and envisioning and feeling what it would like to have the thing that I want manifest. I might be speaking it into existence. Like, I'm really into speaking into existence. So I like to tell people what it is that I'm manifesting, and I like to declare it on my Facebook. That's one of my biggest things I like to do. But I speak it into existence. I do all these things. And then I'm madly in love with my life. I'm grateful for what I have. I appreciate what I have. I don't look at the gap between what I'm trying to get versus what I have now. I fully embody loving everything that I've got going on in my life. And then I allow an idea or a person or a circumstance or a situation that will come in that will allow me to then take inspired action. So again, it lean back, let go, and allow inspired action to come in that will then prompt the step you need to take. But it is not your job to think, what is the step I need to take? Thinking that's not what your mind is built for. Your mind is not built to try and create a logical step to manifest a miracle. Like, do you understand how stupid that sounds? Like how crazy that sounds? I'm not trying to call you stupid, but like how crazy that sounds. Like, I want magic and miracles, so I'm going to logically think my way to how I can create a magic and a miracle. Like, that's literally the opposite of what you're asking for. If you're asking for magic and miracles, you have to be delusional about how it comes to you. You have to let go how it comes to you. You have to allow the magic and the miracle to come in. Your mind is not designed to think your way to the thing. Okay? So, but something will happen. Something will be a prompt. Like, hey, it's like you might meet someone or you might see something online. Like I really want to write a book and I really, I know that like I want to manifest being a best-selling author and I want to write a book. And then you go about your day like you should. Go write, like take inspired action to do the thing. If you're going to have something like a book, you got to be writing, but you might not know, how do I publish it or how do I get it out there? It's not your job to think about through that process. It's your job to do the thing and allow inspired action to show up. So you might see something online like, oh, here's a class about how to sell a best-selling book. Oh my God, that's what I need. Like, let me sign up for that. Like, something will come, some person will come, some situation will come that will prompt you to take an action, and then you take that action and then just keep following that trail. Keep doing whatever comes your way, but don't stop and try and use your brain to think about what the next step is. You have to allow inspired action to come and just take that step and then allow the next one to come in and lean back and trust that it's coming in without you having to stop and logically think about every next step that you need to take. If you want a magic and miracle, you have to let it be magic and miracle. If you want something to come out of nothing, you have to let it come out of nothing. And so you have to do a trust fall with the universe. You have to let go of the control of figuring out how this magic and miracle is going to show up. So another thing that will happen along this journey of manifesting is something hard and difficult is going to happen. Something that feels awful or like a struggle or painful or uncomfortable, something is going to happen. This is the time where you are getting into alignment, or it could be the time where it's like let's say, for instance, I was in my second marriage. And I wanted a loving, amazing partnership. I wanted a partner I could talk to, that I could hang out with, that I could do all these things. And my second marriage was not that. And I focused, I followed my own steps. I envisioned what it would be like to have a partner like that. I felt what it would like to be to have a partner like that. And I let go. I in my logical mind thought that, my current partner would change and get into an alignment with me for having that type of relationship. I didn't feel like I had to leave him. I didn't try to force him to change. I didn't do these things. I just let go of how this was going to show up. And then he left me. Him leaving me and that relationship gave me the space in the room for that amazing partner to come in. So sometimes we have to lose something in our life to make way for the thing that it is that we are trying to manifest. But when we lose something, our really, or it feels uncomfortable or it feels painful, and if you can't trust that is supposed to happen, you're blocking your manifestation. So you have to allow the painful, uncomfortable situation to come in, because what's happening is you're getting into an alignment with the thing that you're trying to manifest. So like you think about like Walt Disney. He wanted to have the company that exists today, right? And he didn't have the money, he didn't have the funds, and so he went to bank after bank after bank to try and get someone who would give him the money and the funds to be able to start his business. He got like 33 no's. Like, no, no, no. Most of us would have quit at like 1 or 2 no's, but he just kept going and kept going and kept going. In order to have the size of the brand that he has now, to have the impact that it's had on the world, he would need to be a person who can handle difficult things. He would need to be a person who says, I am doing this no matter what. And the universe gave him the experience of saying, I'm going to do this no matter what. So no matter how many no's he got, he kept going towards what it is that he wanted with the firm belief that it was going to show up. And then it did. He had to build that character. He had to build the capacity for hearing no's. He had to show that he still trusted. He had to show, I doing this no matter, if he's like, this is what I want and I'm doing this no matter what, then it has to be a no matter what. It has to be a no matter what. And he's got to show that. He's got to do that. So when when something difficult pops up, when something difficult happens, and then you get mad because it's not the thing that you wanted to manifest, it's like that thing has to happen in order for you to manifest the thing. That situation is part of the manifestation of what it is that you want. And if you get mad or you get angry or you think that the universe is failing you, then you're turning off the manifestation. You're ending it, and you're going to have to like restart, or you're going to have to learn another lesson, or you're going to have to, like if you allow the failure to happen, if you allow, without resisting, it's like the resistance is what's going to slow you down, right? So like resistance is non-acceptance. So like when let me think of like, I have so many examples of this. But like, if you say, I want to manifest something. Earlier I shared today about like my house. I was living in a place where I didn't want to have the baby. I wanted to have the baby in Michigan. So I needed to get a temporary rental because I didn't plan to live in Michigan. I just wanted to go up there for a couple of months to have the baby up there and then come back to Illinois. And it took a while, but like we got a house, and then I was headed up there to pay the guy so that we can keep the house. And then on my way up there, he's like, never mind, you don't get the house. Resistance would have been angry and upset and thinking that, maybe I just need to not have the baby in Michigan. I need to change my plans. Like that would have been resistance. Acceptance would be, okay, something better is coming in. Somehow, some way this is working out for me. I'm going to let go. I'm not going to try and use my mind to think my way through this situation. I'm going to release. I'm going to let go. I'm going to allow something that will come in that will be the answer to this. And what happened I did exactly that. And what happened for me was my mom's friend, or my stepdad's friend, had rental houses. And while I was up there visiting my mom, my mom was like, hey, don't you have rental house? And he's like, yeah. And then I was like, can I rent one? And he's like, sure. And it's furnished and it's everything you need. And it's way cheaper than what you were going to pay. And I'm like, oh my God. It was crazy because like we committed to paying this large amount of rent money. I was like, I'll pay you $5,000 because I was making plenty of enough money. It didn't matter. Like, I just needed to be able to have a place. But then we got a house in Illinois because like I said, I didn't want to live in the house that I was living in. I don't want to bring my baby back to that house. That was a very temporary situation that we were in. But we didn't have another house either. And we literally on the same day got told that the house in Michigan was available, and that David's house that he owned, that the tenants were going to move out, and so that we can move in. So then it was like, well, shoot, we just said that we would pay all this money to rent this house in Michigan, but now we actually need a bunch of money to renovate his house and get it prepared for us. So, but I was like, whatever, it'll work out somehow. I was like, we'll have to pay this large sum of rent, but then, somehow we'll also renovate the house. And I let it go. And then we got the phone call that house that was going to cost us $5,000 a month was not going to happen. And I let it go. I was like, okay, something better's coming in. Something better's coming in. I'm going to trust something better's coming in. I'm not going to try and use my mind to think my way through this. Something better's coming in. And then something better did come in at a fraction of the price, $1,500 versus, actually, was it 15 or 12? I don't know. It was way, way cheaper. So then I literally like manifested a better house at a better price so that I can get the price that I needed for, I think hang on, my bedtime mode turned on. I don't know if it's going to mess with anything on my phone. So it's still dark. What happened? I turned you off. I hope my phone is okay. I hope my video is okay. I don't know. My phone just went completely like black and gray sepia or something. So I hope it's fine. But anyway, resistance is being angry or upset or thinking, because like you have to understand, along the journey of manifestation, something uncomfortable is going to happen. It is part of the growth. It is part of the evolution. It is part of getting into alignment with what it is that you want. You have to allow it to happen and believe that it is part of the journey, that it is not taking you away from the journey. It is not hindering you. It is not stopping you. It is not blocking you. What is stopping you, hindering you, and blocking you is you thinking that it is. You have to allow the uncomfortableness to be uncomfortable. You have to allow the pain to be painful. You have to... Zoo! Shh! Don't you wake that baby! Zoo! I will not resist. Shh! Anyway, you have to, there's going to be something uncomfortable along the manifestation journey. And sometimes it's simply the universe asking you, do you still trust me? Do you trust me as much as you say you trust me? Do you? Do you really trust me? Are you sure you trust me? Because something crazy happened today and then you decided that you're not getting your manifestation and that it's all falling apart and that you're further behind than what you thought you were. And now everything is ruined, because all of that indicates that you don't trust me. And if you want me to give you magic and miracles, if you want to manifest things out of thin air, you got to trust me. And I give you opportunities to show me that you trust me and you don't trust me. So I can't do this for you. I can't give you what it is you want unless you trust me. And so when you get an opportunity to show the universe that you trust, you got to trust. Like, you've got to let go. You've got to trust, and you got to believe that it's all working for it. You got to trust that it's all part of the journey, that the painful part is part of what it is that you're trying to get. When you think that the painful part, the uncomfortable part, when you think the bad news is ruining and ending it all, then that's true, because you think it, because you've decided that it is. But if you can trust that what it is you're going through is leading you to the better thing, if you can trust that the pain you're going through is part of the journey, if you can trust that you're getting into alignment, if you can trust that you're growing, if you can trust that the failure is part of what it is you need to experience, then you get that manifestation much faster. It gets to come in much faster, because now the universe says, okay, she trusts me. And then you want to manifest the next big thing. And it's going to be the same process every time. I am telling you, I have been on this journey I've been learning about the law of attraction, for a while, but like to really learn about conscious manifestation has only been within like the last few years, where I have I will take control of my thoughts. I will take control of my emotions has really only come in starting around like September of 2021. And now it's, September of 2024, where I'm like, okay, I have spent the last 3 years seeing how this process goes. And it goes with saying what you want, feeling really good, getting really juicy, seeing some evidence come in, getting an inspired action, something painful, something just uncomfortable, something that makes you go, "Arr!" And then you, okay, lean back and trust and trust and trust. And then boom, there it is. And then the journey starts all over again in a new manifestation. There has to be a layer of growth. And like, what's important to understand is like, you don't have to hit rock bottom every time something uncomfortable happens. You don't have to completely fall apart. Like in the earlier part of my journey, I would go along with manifesting. It would feel really good. It would feel really juicy. And then boom, the uncomfortable things happens. And then I would like completely fall apart. And I'd have to build myself back up and start all over again. But I learned that like, I don't have to completely fall apart. And instead of like thinking that this uncomfortable situation or this painful situation is ruining everything, I started to believe that it was part of the journey. And so when I believed that it was part of what I was going through, then it got to accelerate and it got to be much faster and it got to be amazing. And that's how you like collapse time, is that you're willing to accept everything that's happening as part of the manifestation. Like stop thinking, like honestly, the title that I have here is like the number one reason you're blocking manifestation is because you're thinking you're blocking manifestation. It's kind of like backwards. You have to trust that everything you're going through along the journey is part of the manifestation and that nothing is actually ruining the manifesting. You have to believe, you have to hold the space for the really scary part. So there's the part of the uncomfortable part, or the getting into alignment part. It's scary. It is scary to trust. And we call it the void. Like there's this void, there's this time where it's like you're almost suspended in space. And it's like you feel the future thing that you're trying to manifest, and yet you don't see a way. In fact, it feels like there's hindrances to getting what you manifest. And you're in this space of I must trust. I have to trust that what I feel is coming, and that what I'm going through is not hindering me, blocking me, or stopping me. And this is where we call the void. And it's uncomfortable being in the void. It's very uncomfortable being in the unknown. It's very uncomfortable. It's like you're floating in this black space, and it's like, what is happening? What is going on? And it's like, this is where, again, we relax and we let go and we allow the universe to hold us. If you want to live a life where you trust that the universe has your back every time, you have to live in a universe where the universe has your back every time. You have to walk the talk. You have to believe that wholeheartedly and trust in that wholeheartedly, and not try to use your mind to logically figure out the steps to manifest a miracle. You can't logically figure out the steps to manifest a miracle. This is another thing that Melanie Ann Layer says, is you'll wonder how to do it until you wonder how you did it. You'll wonder how to do it until you wonder how you did it. Like you'll never really quite figure it out. It just kind of just shows up. Like, and then it's like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, I don't know. I just said I wanted to make $1,000 a day, and then I did. And then I just said I wanted to make $2,000 a day, and then I did. And then I just said I wanted to make $5,000 a day, and then I did. And then I said I wanted to make $10,000 a day, and then I did. And then I said I wanted to make $100,000 in a month, and then I did. And then I said I wanted to make $100,000 a day in a day, and I'm getting there. Like I get to just say it, and then it just happens. Some people are like, well, what did you do different in your business? I didn't do anything different. I just said what I wanted. I just said what I wanted. And I believed in all my heart and all my mind that it was going to happen. And I trusted that it was going to happen. And I didn't allow anything to deter me. I didn't allow a day that only made $200 to make me believe that $1,000 day wasn't showing up. I didn't do that. I was just like, okay, well, today was a $200 day, but tomorrow could be $1,000. Tomorrow could be a $3,000 day. Like tomorrow could be a $5,000 day. Like it's whatever. It's magic and miracles. I was like, it'll all work out. Like I'm delusional about these things, because literally I want to create nothing out of thin air. I want it to just show up. And so if I want it to just show up, if I want it to just be miraculous, I've got to let it be miraculous. I've got to let it just show up. I've got to trust that it's somehow, some way, somewhere, it's going to come. It's going to show up. So when you're in this painful situation, like with earlier, I was talking about, Sky, she has this vintage business. She has a brick and mortar shop. She's got a bunch of stuff for sale in her shop. And currently there is like construction going on, and it's hindering her ability. I don't even think she can have people come in. And I think she might even have to move out. Like, I don't know all the full details. But it's like she can either look at this situation as stopping her goals and preventing her from being able to make money, or she can lean back and trust and say, okay, universe, you've got me. Let me know the next right step. And in the meantime, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take a bath. I'm not going to argue with people. I'm not going to Google online how I can fix this. I'm not going to think my way through this. I'm just going to lean back. I'm going to go take a bubble bath. I'm going to have some water, whatever, like, if you don't drink, I don't know if she drinks or whatever, like have some wine, like relax, eat a cookie, like chill out, read a book, whatever. Because in the moment of feeling uncomfortable, in the moment of having that stress, the worst thing to do is feed it. You don't want to feed the stress. You don't want to feed the worry. You don't want to feed the doubt. You don't want to feed the overwhelm. And the best time to relax is when you think you can't relax. Because your brain is not going to function very well anyway if you're overworked and you're overwhelmed. So you got to relax. So you get this bad news. You get this situation, or seemingly bad news, right? Like not having to pay rent for that $5,000 house was not bad news. That was good news. And that was good news. But initially it could feel like bad news because we had no house. It was really difficult to find any house because like if you go back to my live I talked about earlier today, you know, I was trying to get a house to have the baby in Michigan in a tourist town that's like in summertime, everyone comes up there for the summer. And I couldn't even find an Airbnb that could hold us for 3 months. I was willing to pay whatever I needed to pay, but I couldn't even get an Airbnb for a 3-month time. It was like, well, you could stay at this Airbnb and then you're going to have to move to this one and then move to that one because there's no one Airbnb that's available for 3 months. And so we finally got like this guy who was like, yeah, you can rent out my whole house for $5,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, cool. We got a house. Yay. And then the day I go up there to go sign the lease, he's like, never mind, backs out of the deal. And I could have seen that as bad news, but I saw it as something better is coming up. And then a better house showed up with a much better price tag, much better situation. And it all felt good and amazing. And I got to help out my dad's friend in the meantime. Like we can't look at bad news as bad news. We can feel the feelings and we can be sad and we can whatever, but we don't feed them. And we don't think that it's all ruined. And we don't try to use our mind to solve the problem. I didn't use my mind to solve the problem. I focused on trust. I focused on I am held and supported and taken care of no matter what. Like if you really want to be held and supported and taken care of no matter what, you have to trust that that's going to happen. And you can't use your mind to think about how you're going to take care of yourself because clearly the universe is let you go and not willing to take care of you. That's true if you let it be true, if that's what you decide to tell your story. Like you are so powerful. You're so powerful. Whatever story you decide to tell yourself is going to be your reality. I tell myself a story that I get magic and miracles all day long. Like when something pops up, like there's this writer's workshop I want to take. And it's live in person and it's happening October 24, 25, 26. And the first person I was like, okay, yeah, I could go, but I got the baby. I can't not have, someone's got to be with the baby. It's hunting season, so David can't be with the baby. He also doesn't want to come to California with me. So I was like, my sister could come. She could stay, at an Airbnb, take care of the baby. She breastfeeds. It'd be perfect. She's like, I'm not available. And so then the guy was like, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't have an answer right now. I don't. If I'm meant to be there, I will be there. And magical miracles are my birthright. And if I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there. Like that's literally where I'm at right now in terms of manifesting that workshop. Will I get to that exact workshop on those exact days? I don't know. But I do know that I took the action on attempting to go to that workshop. And maybe there's even a better workshop at a better price that's available for me. And it might be even locally, 1 hour away where I won't even need to worry about, finding a sitter. Like I am open to whatever comes my way that is better without thinking I lost anything. Like if you think you lost something, that's blocking your manifestation. If you think what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. Like this is where your mind game has to be so on point. Like when something happens that doesn't feel good, when something happens that is seemingly bad news, instead of me like going into the worry, the fear and doubt of it, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to take some breaths. I'm going to like trust and believe. I'm going to focus. Like what is meant for me cannot be taken from me. Everything is working in my favor. Somehow, some way, this situation, I'll come through the other side and be like, oh my God, I'm so glad this situation happened. Like that is what I do. I do that every single time. And that becomes my focus. And then the universe comes in with a magical and miracle way of like, here you go. It's happened so much along my journey that it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy how often magic and miracles just show up. And that is what I believe my life gets to be. My life gets to be magic and miracles. Even this house that I'm living in right now, this was honestly one of the times where I actually kind of lost it, because the capacity to hold, we're basically manifesting I just got a message that somebody will watch my baby, but you have to come to California with me. So we're sitting on a $1.7 million property. That's what it cost for us to have this. And at the time, when we were like, because it was like, we were like, maybe we live in Texas, we should stay at our house for like 3 years. We had just cash renovated our house. It was beautiful. I loved living in that house, but it was like, it was in town, cars everywhere. I couldn't, I didn't get to see a lot of trees. And it's like, it's so important to me to just look at trees, to be in nature. David wants to hunt all the time, and so he needs to have land to hunt. We envisioned having a place for our family to come. And then we were thinking about Texas though, and we went to Texas. And when I was in Texas, I started saying all the things that I wanted. I wanted, very private, very secluded. I wanted a ton of trees. I wanted water. I started thinking about all the things that I wanted. I put myself in the thought and in the feeling of having it, and saying and declaring what it is that I wanted. And then when we came back from Texas and we were in Illinois, I was like, you know what? Illinois feels so right. It's not Texas, it's Illinois. So then I went online. I got the inspired action, like it should be in Illinois. So then I put in like all the filters for like what I wanted based on what I said in Texas. And one property popped up, just one, that hit everything we said. And is this property. And so I showed it to David, and he was like, let's go check it out. And I'm like, well, we don't have a pre-approval. We don't have a mortgage in place. Like that we don't have the logical steps. And he's like, I don't care. We're going to go check it out. He literally booked it like immediately. So we came out to check out the property. It felt so good. It felt so right. It felt awesome. It felt amazing. And then it was like, okay, well, how are we going to do this? And I remember telling the real estate agent, I don't know how. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know magic and miracles are my birthright, and it's going to happen. Because one of the big things about being able to get a loan is that you have to have 2 years of taxes when you run a business. So if you don't have a W-2, it's really hard to get a loan. And so we didn't have 2 years of taxes done. And we want to be able to get this property. And so you have to have 2 years of taxes done to get the loan. And like the money is like not quite, like first year in business, I only made $136,000 that year. That doesn't justify a mortgage for a $1.7 million property. But if you look at the next year's taxes, it was a lot more justifiable, but still like it averages out. And so there was a time where I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. I can't see a way through. I was like, we could sell the business. We can do, different things. Like, in my mind, and I was like so swirly. I called it swirly. My mind was just swirly. Like it was just like how and what, and this is, it's crazy. But I still trusted, and I still believed. I was like, I don't know, somehow, some way, like my mind is going nuts with this, but somehow, some way, this, I trust and believe. And if it's not this, it's something better. That's what I clung to. If it's not this, it's something better. If it's not this, it's something better. And so I clung to that belief, but my mind was still swirly with like all the possibles and potentials and how could I somehow figure it out. But I didn't try to feed into them too much. Like I was in this zone of like fighting off the worry and the fear and the doubt. And so I'm in this place of like, wow, this was one of the times I really had to build my mental and emotional muscles up. What I really had to put into practice, what I preach, which is everything is working out for me all the time. My life is nothing but magic and miracles. What is meant for me cannot be taken from me. It gets to be this or something better. Like those are the beliefs that I've got running on my mind all the time. And we decided to come out to the property again. We hadn't been able to put in an offer because we weren't pre-approved. Like as soon as we knew we wanted the property, we started working on getting a loan. And so we were in the process. This magical woman was like working up all these things, and she's like, "Well, send me your current profit and loss for the business. Like you don't have 2 years of taxes, but send me any data you can about the money that you're making." So I was like, "Okay, So we're sending her everything, and whatever it is that we need to do, and And then also there was a worry about like a down payment. Like we didn't have a ton of money in the bank for like a big down payment. Like, you know, everyone says you need a 20%, you know, down payment, like a minimum 20% down payment in order to get a house, in order to get a mortgage. Like it's, and I'm like, well, we don't have exactly 20,000, not 20. I don't know how much you need. What is 20% of 1.7 million? I don't even know. But we didn't have that in the bank account. And so I'm like, I don't even know how this is going to happen. Like, again, my mind is like, even if this happens and that works, we don't have this. And so I don't know how that's going to, I'm like, magic and miracles, magic and miracles, magic and miracles, magic and miracles. Ah! Like I was just like so focused on magic and miracles, magic and miracles. Like I was practicing what I preach. But my mind was still like so swirly. So David's like, let's go out to the property again. Let's like recalibrate. Let's come back out here. So we came back out to the property again. And this time, the real estate agent wasn't with us, and we took David's four-wheeler and we had permission, and we went around on the property. And there's like the furthest corner of the 100 acres, because that's how big it is, little like 101 or something like that. The furthest corner of the acreage, we went out, and there was like a trail into the woods. And it looked really inviting, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And we saw like a little red bench. It's not exactly a bench, but like it's red thing. And the real estate agent, last time we had driven by there with him, he had said that indicates the borderline. So like a little bit into the woods would be the end of the property. So we're like, okay, well we can walk to the red bench. And David walked in there before me, and I was a little bit behind him, and I was just kind of taking in the scenery of the woods. Like it's so freaking beautiful. Like you take a step into there and it's just like the trees and the leaves, and it's just so, and it's like kind of hilly, and it's like so super beautiful. And I was just like, wow, like this is so beautiful. This is so amazing. This feels so good. But my mind is like, how are you going to do this? And my mind is so swirly. Like that's literally the word I kept using. But I'm like, magic and miracles, magic and miracles, magic and miracles. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. What's meant for you will not be taken from you. If it's meant for you, it will not be taken from you. Magic and miracles. Trust. Everything is working out for me. And that is what I was doing. And then, so David, he's a little bit before me. He's at the red bench. He turns and looks, and he's like, you're going to love this. And I was like, what? And I'm like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about. So I walk towards him, and there is a sign nailed to the tree, and it has one sentence on it. And as soon as I see it, because it's like the sign nailed to the tree above the red bench, like clearly this is like a meditation reflection spot. And as soon as I see the sign, I burst into tears. Tears are just streaming down my face, and my whole body is just racked with sobs. And there was no more swirliness in my brain because the answer was right there. It was a sign that said, be still and know that I am God. Swirly, be still and know that I am God. And seeing that on the sign, I'm like, I am so taken care of. My life is magic and miracles. And it wasn't but a day or two later, the mortgage lady called. She goes, you guys are approved. You got the mortgage, no problem. and it's a 1% down payment. What? Magic and miracles are my birthright. And then we moved in, and it's been amazing. And I love waking up here every day. I love having my family here. Like, it's so amazing. Like, my sister came out here, and she's like, this feels so amazing. And one of the most magical things in my life happened when my sister was out here. Because I love my family more than, like, anything. Like, I love my family. Like, if you ask my best friend, she will tell you. She's like, if Melissa had her dream, all of her family lives in one spot. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. All my family, I want them in one spot. But everyone have their separate houses because I need my alone space. But like I would just, it would just fill me up to just have my whole family around me in one spot. Because we're all spread out, we're all everywhere. And anyway, my sister came out to visit, and we're riding around on the side by side, you know, taking a look at all the trees and, you know, going through the grass, and like, this is the 100 acres that we live on, and like, we're gonna do this here, we're gonna do that here, and look at this and check out the pond, you know. And she's like, I'm gonna be okay. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, if anything happens, I'm just going to move here and I'm going to be okay. You know, her husband is in the military. He has one of the most dangerous jobs. Is if there is any emergency, he works on a ship that's out to sea, you know, a million miles into the water. And any emergency that happens, he's the one who's supposed to handle every single emergency. Like, his risk of death is so high. And so, like, she's like, he could die at any point. He can die, and I'm going to be left alone, you know, with our baby. And he makes, you know, right now he makes the majority of the income. And she's like, you know, if he dies, what am I going to do? You know? And she's like, I don't have to worry. She's like, I'll just come here. I'll be fine. And to like hear my sister say, like, and to know that she'll be totally taken care of and supported, and like having my family here in this one spot, I'm like, like, it fills my heart so much. Like, of course, like, you could be here. Come in, bring him with you. Come now. Like, let's go. Like, it was the most amazing thing. It was another time where just my heart just like filled up so much, and it felt so good, and it felt so awesome. And it's like, magic and miracles brought me here. There wasn't logical steps that brought me here. It was magic and miracles that brought me here. There's like, it's crazy. If you want magic and miracles, you have to trust magic and miracles. You have to give the space for the magic and the miracles to show up. You have to trust that they'll come from nowhere. You have to trust that it's going to utterly surprise you. And you have to along the journey of allowing that to happen, you cannot let the fear, the doubt, and the overwhelm win. Because if it wins, then it denies any magic and miracles showing up. If you believe the fear more than you believe the magic, you're going to have more fear and no magic. You've got to believe more magic than you believe in the fear. You've got to shift the tides in your head to trust. And again, when the painful, uncomfortable, difficult journey shows up, because it's going to, there's going to be something painful. There's going to be something uncomfortable. There's going to be something that sucks. There's going to be something along the journey. And you have to decide. You have to decide and know and trust that it is part of what it is you're asking for. It is either removing something from your life to make way for something new. It is teaching you how to hold big feelings. It is teaching you how to hold big emotions. It is getting you to an alignment. It is causing you to grow. It is causing you to expand. Somehow, some way, the difficult, scary, terrifying things are part of the journey. They're part of the manifestation. And if you feed into the fear, if you feed into the worry, if you feed into the doubt, you turn off the manifestation, because you're telling the universe, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I say I want to trust you. I say that I want you to have my back, but I won't fall, and I won't let you actually catch me on my back. When you're falling, you have to allow that black void to exist and to trust that you'll come out the other side. Like, there's this TV show David and I love on Amazon Prime called The Outer Range. And there's this like black hole in the middle of the field. And when you go into it, you come out the same hole in a different time. Like, you're in a new timeline. And sometimes you skip ahead, sometimes you go back, and you never quite know what's going to happen when you go through the black hole. But like, the vision, like what happens on the show is the person falls in the black hole, and they're just falling and falling and falling and falling. And it's like, where's the end? What's going to happen? And then suddenly they're crawling back out of the hole again. It was like the end of the hole was back through the hole. It's kind of like, you know, in the Umbrella Academy, they went through the revolving door, and they came back through the place again. It's like, you try to leave, but you come right back in. Like, you have to trust that void, that scariness, that pain, that whatever is like going to zap you back or zap you towards wherever it is you want to go. You got to trust in the void. You've got to trust that you're taken care of. You've got to trust that magic and miracles are showing up. If you want magic and miracles, you've got to trust in the magic and the miracle. And the magic and the miracle is delusional. The magic and the miracle doesn't make sense. The magic and the miracle doesn't have logical steps. You can't get a miracle with logic. That is the opposite of a miracle. Miracles are devoid of logic. That's what makes them a miracle. So stop trying to logic your way to a miracle. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. A miracle shows up unexpectedly. A miracle shows up out of nowhere. A miracle just happens. A miracle comes from nothing. That's kind of the whole point of manifesting. I want to bring something from nothing. And you have to trust, and you have to lean back, and you have to allow. You've got to. You've got to see your manifestation as a trust fall with the universe. And you may fall and fall and fall and think that you're supposed to be caught, but you're not caught, but you have to keep going. That you're somehow in this weird void of a thing, and you will eventually land, and you will be caught, and it will be okay. And there may be a point where you feel like you fell and you got bruised and you got banged up, but like you have to trust that that's part of what has to happen. You have to trust that that's part of the process. The pain is part of the process. The uncomfortableness is part of the process. Like, you have to get into alignment. In order to manifest the thing that you want, you have to get into alignment with it. You have to be vibrating at the frequency of it. And when I think about getting into alignment, like imagine, a broken bone. Getting it back into alignment hurts. It's painful, like, yeah, your bone is sticking out of your body. You got to get it back into, we got to squeeze it back together. It's going to hurt real bad, but we got to get the bones touching again so that it grows back together. Like, it's all part of the process. It's all part of what needs to happen. And you've got to trust that it is. And you've got to expect magic and miracles. You can't logic your way there. So I feel like I've said enough. I'm going to let this one go, especially because I'm on borrowed time with the baby. If she wakes up again, she wakes up again. But listen to my previous lives. Like, there's so much insight is in there, and I so want you to live in magic and miracles. And I'm all about talking about that, and I'm all about bringing it into my life, and I'm all about magic and miracles for myself. So allow it to happen. Trust. Be in a trust fall with the universe. Trust that the pain is part of the process, and get your mind on lock. Get your mind on lock. Like, again, everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me. What is meant for me cannot be taken from me. What is meant for me cannot be taken from me. I got this. Everything is working in my favor. Everything is working in my favor. My life is magic and miracles. My life is magic and miracles. Get your mind on lock. Okay? I love you all. Have an amazing night. Bye.